Have you ever been truly, completely alone? I don't mean home alone on a Friday night. I mean the kind of alone where the entire world has gone to sleep, and you are the solitary sentinel left awake in a sea of silence and shadows. For millions of people, that's not a philosophical question. It's their job description. They are the night shift workers, the guardians of the quiet hours. And when the sun dips below the horizon and the ordinary world retreats, a different one slowly stirs to life. A world painted in shades of neon, monitor glow, and deep, profound darkness. Tonight, we're stepping into that world. We're not dealing in campfire fiction or movie monsters. We're delving into the documented, the shared, the deeply personal true stories from those who walk the empty corridors, patrol the deserted lots, and navigate the endless roads while the rest of us dream. These are accounts from nurses, security guards, truckers, and convenience store clerks, shared in forums and whispered in break rooms. Stories that chill the spine, puzzle the mind, and sometimes touch the heart in unexpected ways. This is the Archive of the Night. Let's begin where the line between this world and the next is said to be at its thinnest. The hospital, a place of constant transition. Sarah, an intensive care night nurse from Leeds, shared an account that changed her perception of her job forever. She was used to the symphony of the night ward, the steady beep of cardiac monitors, the hiss of oxygen, the soft, pained sighs. One night, around 3 a.m., a time veteran nurses often call the death hour due to the body's circadian dip, she was doing her rounds. She passed the room of an elderly terminal patient, Mr. Higgins, a man who had been unresponsive for days. The family had just left for some rest. As she glanced in, she saw him sitting bolt upright in bed, which was medically impossible in his state. He was looking towards the corner of the room, a gentle, almost serene smile on his face. He whispered, clear as day, "I'm ready, Mum. I've missed you." Then he slowly lay back down. The monitor flatlined. He was gone. When Sarah rushed in, the room was cold. Not just chilly, but a deep, penetrating cold, centered on that empty corner. She later learned from his daughter that Mr. Higgins's mother, who had been his primary caregiver, had died in that very hospital decades prior. Did she come to collect him? In the stillness of the night, many who work there believe that the recently departed are not alone on their final journey. From the clinical silence of the hospital, we move to the vast, echoing emptiness of the warehouse. Imagine a space the size of several football fields, stacked to the ceiling with pallets, a labyrinth of silent commerce. This is where Mark, a night security guard in an industrial estate outside Birmingham, spent his shifts. His job was to do hourly patrols, a solitary walk with only a torch and a radio for company. The sounds were always the same: the hum of the fridge units, the creak of the building settling, until one night they weren't. During his 2 a.m. patrol, he began to hear the distinct, rhythmic sound of a cardboard box being dragged across the concrete floor. A slow, grating thump, thump. It seemed to move, echoing from aisle 7, then from aisle 12. His radio crackled with static when he tried to call it in. Heart pounding, he followed the sound, his torch beam cutting a shaky path through the darkness. It led him to the very center of the warehouse, to an old, disused loading bay door. The sound stopped. There, on the floor, was a single, child's red mitten, covered in a fine layer of dust. It was pristine, yet looked decades old. The bay door, he later found out from an old-timer, was the original entrance. 40 years ago, before the estate was built, the land was a scrapyard where a local boy had gone missing, never to be found. The only item he was believed to have with him, a pair of red mittens knitted by his grandmother. Mark never heard the dragging sound again, but he refused to patrol alone after that, and the mitten, when he went back, was gone. But the night isn't just about ghost stories. It's about a raw, unfiltered humanity you never see during the day. Let's talk to the keepers of the 24-hour convenience store, the oasis of light in the sleeping suburb. This story comes from Anya, who worked the midnight to 8 a.m. shift at a gas station off a quiet motorway junction. Her most regular customer was a long-haul lorry driver named Dave. Every Tuesday, like clockwork, at 3:30 a.m., he'd come in. He'd buy 2 energy drinks, a pack of biscuits, and a lottery scratch card. They'd exchange a few words about the weather, the dreadful motorway roadworks, football. It was a brief, comforting slice of normalcy in the weird timeline of the night. One Tuesday, Dave didn't show, or the next. Anya felt a strange worry. In the night shift world, your fellow nocturnal creatures become a kind of silent community. A month later, a different tired-looking driver came in. When Anya asked, almost casually, "Haven't seen Dave in a while," the driver's face fell. "Dave? Yeah. He had a massive heart attack in his cab 2 months back. Near Hull. Didn't make it." Anya was stunned. But Dave had been in just a few weeks ago. She checked the CCTV for the last Tuesday he'd visited. The timestamp showed 3:30 a.m. The door sensor registered opening, but on the video feed, there was nothing. No one entered. The door simply opened and closed. Yet she had spoken to him, handed him his items, taken his money. The till log even showed the sale. Was it a system glitch? A shared hallucination born of fatigue and routine? Or did Dave, in his final journey, stop by his familiar port in the nocturnal storm one last time? Anya quit soon after. Some mysteries are too personal to bear, and then there are the roads, the arteries of the night, long, dark, and hypnotic. Truckers have a vast library of these tales. One, shared on a driver's forum, is known as the Black Dog of the A9. The A9 in Scotland, particularly a stretch through the Highlands, is notorious. Drivers report seeing a large, shaggy black dog the size of a calf, with eyes that glow a dull amber. It's never on the road itself, but always parallel, keeping pace with the vehicle through the moorland, effortlessly, no matter the speed. The legend says it only appears to drivers who are dangerously tired, a living, breathing warning from the landscape itself to pull over and rest. Those who heed the warning report seeing it vanish as soon as their indicator lights flash for a lay-by. Those who ignore it, their stories often end with a near miss, a sudden swerve, or worse. It's a modern folklore, born from isolation, fatigue, and the ancient, imposing landscape that doesn't care for human schedules. Finally, consider the janitor, the invisible cleaner of an office tower. Maria cleaned the financial district offices in London. One floor, the 14th, always felt different. The air was thick. Computers would wake from sleep mode on their own, and sometimes, from the empty conference room, she'd hear the faint, frantic clatter of a single typewriter. Investigating revealed nothing. One night, during the 2008 financial crisis, the feeling was overwhelming. She entered the main trading floor, a cavernous room now silent. At one desk, a shadow seemed to solidify. The shape of a man in a suit, head in his hands. The smell of stale coffee and panicked sweat filled the air, though the room had been empty for hours. She felt a wave of despair so profound it brought her to tears. She later discovered that a young trader had taken his own life in that very building, during the 08 crash, overwhelmed by debt and shame. The night, it seems, doesn't just host spirits of people, but can also imprint the echoes of intense emotion, fear, despair, elation, on a location, replaying them like a psychic recording when the hustle of the day fades away. So what binds these stories together? It's the liminal space. The night shift exists in a world between worlds, between today and tomorrow, light and dark, the living world and whatever lies beside it. The darkness strips away distraction. It amplifies our senses, our fears, our intuition. It makes us more susceptible to the subtle, the strange, and the sublime. For these workers, the supernatural isn't always a dramatic poltergeist. Sometimes it's a quiet presence, a misplaced object, a feeling of being watched that's so consistent it becomes part of the job's hazard assessment. They are our modern-day watchmen, holding the line against the quiet. They see the city not as a thriving organism, but as a sleeping giant, vulnerable and still. They witness the secret lives of urban foxes, the staggering silence of a usually bustling street, the first blush of dawn touching glass skyscrapers. And they carry these stories of loneliness, of unexpected connection, of sheer, mind-bending weirdness, as their unique testimony. Next time you're cozy in bed, hear a distant siren, or see the glow of a street lamp through your curtain, spare a thought for the night shift. They're out there, in the great quiet, keeping the world's heart beating while it rests. And they are bringing back reports from the frontier of reality that most of us will never, ever see. If you have your own story from the night shift, a strange encounter, or a family tale from someone who worked the graveyard, share it in the comments below. Let's build this archive of the dark hours together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next journey into the unexplained. Until next time, sleep tight. But the night shift isn't just a parade of spectral visitors and chilling coincidences. It's a masterclass in human psychology, stripped bare. You see the raw, unfiltered version of people. Let me tell you about the 3 a.m. Club. That's what I call the regulars who exist only in this inverted timeline. There was a woman, probably in her late 50s, who came into the all-night laundromat I worked at in college. Every single Thursday, 3 a.m. on the dot. She'd wash one single load, always white linens, sheets, and pillowcases. She didn't read, didn't look at her phone. She'd just sit on the orange plastic chair and stare at the slow, hypnotic rotation of the washing machine drum, her face a mask of profound, exhausted sadness. One night, the machine ate her quarters. She didn't get angry. She just put her forehead against the glass of the porthole and started to cry, silently. That's when I learned. Her husband had died a year before, in their bed. She couldn't sleep on her side of the mattress. So every week, she washed the bedding, trying to wash away the memory, the invisible imprint of his body, the scent that somehow her brain still convinced her was there. The night shift shows you grief without its public face. It's grief in a laundromat, under fluorescent lights, with the hum of dryers for a soundtrack. And then there's the other side of the coin, the unvarnished kindness. The trucker who buys a hot coffee and leaves it on the counter for the next driver coming in an hour later. No note needed. The group of night nurses who chip in to buy a birthday cake for the terminally ill patient who has no family visitors. The security guard who, instead of throwing out a homeless person seeking shelter in a corporate lobby on a freezing night, lets them rest in the warm atrium for a few hours, with a warning to be gone before the day staff arrives. In the darkness, societal rules soften. There's a strange, unspoken camaraderie among the night people. You're all in this together, against the normal world schedule. You develop a sixth sense for who needs a silent nod of acknowledgement and who desperately needs a 2-minute conversation about nothing at all just to hear a human voice. This brings me to one of the most profound, universally reported phenomena among night workers: the visitor. Not a ghost, but a living person who appears with a strange, specific purpose. A common story from library night staff, hotel clerks, and even IT guys running server backups. It goes like this. You're alone. The building is locked. It's 4 a.m., the deepest, most silent part of the night. And then a person is just there, at the desk, in the lobby, outside the glass doors. They are always calm, often dressed slightly anachronistically, a style that feels a few years out of date. They ask a simple, bizarre question. Can you point me to the conference room for the annual meeting? In a building that has no conference rooms. I'm here for the audition. In a public library. Has my wife checked in? She said she'd be here. Their request is always benign, logical to them, but impossible in the context of the actual location and time. The interaction is brief. You explain politely that there is no meeting, no audition, no wife on the guest list. And they don't argue. They don't get frustrated. They just accept it. They nod slowly, say a quiet, "Thank you," and turn to leave. And you watch them walk away, and they either vanish around a corner, and you hear no footsteps, or they simply walk out the door and are gone from the empty street outside in an instant. No car, no sound. Who or what are they? The prevailing theory in online communities, where these stories are shared, isn't one of malevolence. It's one of error, a glitch. These are not lost souls in a traditional sense, but perhaps moments, memories, intentions that have somehow slipped their moorings in time and space. A person who was supposed to be at an audition in this building, but 20 years ago. A businessman who did have a crucial meeting here, but on a different timeline. The intense focus of their intention, the anxiety of the audition, the importance of the meeting, the longing to meet their spouse, somehow left a psychic fingerprint so strong it occasionally replays, searching for its resolution. And the night shift worker, alone in the quiet, becomes the unwitting customer service agent for the universe's lost and found department of unresolved events. Тон становится более аналитическим, задумчивым. This idea of the night as an amplifier, a revealer of hidden layers, extends to the physical world too. Many night workers, from factory maintenance crews to museum guards, report experiencing strange time distortions. The classic is the missing hour. You do your patrol. You check your watch. It's 2:15 a.m. You sit down to write your log. You get engrossed in a task. You look up, and it's 3:45 a.m. An hour and a half has passed, but you only remember maybe 15 minutes of activity. There's no sense of having fallen asleep, just a jarring, unaccountable skip in the tape. Conversely, there's the eternal hour, usually between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., where time seems to crawl, every second thick and syrupy, and you could swear you've been watching that clock for 20 minutes when only 2 have passed. Scientists have explanations: circadian rhythm disruption, sleep deprivation, monotony. But when you're in it, in that profound silence, the rational explanation feels thin. It feels like you've brushed up against the fact that time is not the steady, reliable river we think it is. At night, its banks seem to soften, and its current can twist in strange ways. So, What's the ultimate takeaway from collating hundreds of these stories? A few things become clear. First, fear on the night shift is rarely about the abstract notion of ghosts. It's about the palpable, imminent threat of the real, the unstable person who walks in off the street, the strange sound that could be a broken pipe or an intruder, the sudden, crushing isolation. The supernatural, when it appears, is often just a quieter, more puzzling layer on top of that foundational unease. Second, the people who thrive on the night shift develop a unique mindset. They are observational philosophers. They are expert readers of minimal data, a shadow, a sound, a feeling in the air. They operate on intuition honed in the dark. They have a dark, wry humor that gets them through. You'll hear them say things like, "If the ghost of floor 3 starts messing with the vending machine again, I'm billing the company for my snack." And finally, these stories serve a vital purpose. In our brightly lit, 24/7 connected world, we've tried to abolish the night. But the night, the true, deep, dark night, persists. It is a psychological and perhaps even a metaphysical frontier. These stories from its explorers remind us that the world is still mysterious, that not everything can be documented, explained, or illuminated by a smartphone screen. They are a testament to the fact that mystery didn't die with the electric light. It just retreated to the shifts where the light doesn't reach, waiting for the solitary watchman to come across it. They are the last first-hand witnesses to the old, weird world that hums just beneath the surface of our modern one. So the next time you meet someone who works through the night, maybe don't just ask, "How do you stay awake?" Maybe ask, "What's the strangest thing you've ever seen?" You might be surprised by the quiet, sincere, and utterly chilling answer you receive. Завершение. Тон смягчается, возвращаясь к вступительной спокойной манере. And with that, we bring tonight's watch to a close. The eastern sky is beginning to lighten from black to indigo. The night shift workers are logging off, handing over their duties to the day. Their world of shadows and stories is receding, making way for the bustle and certainty of daylight. But remember, it's all still there, just out of sight, waiting for the sun to set again. If these stories resonated with you, if they reminded you of a tale from your own life or from someone you know, share it below. Let's keep the watch alive. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you join us for our next deep dive into life's uncharted corners. Thank you for staying awake with us. Until next time, sweet dreams. Or, as the night shift would say, see you on the flip side.